My name is Lado. I'm an educator and artist in New York City, and I'm here to welcome you to Learning with Lado, an educational platform that provides culturally responsive resources for the classroom that foster critical thinking, creativity, and self-expression. In this video, I'll tell you about my own journey as an educator. I'll share my artful learning approach and how Learning with Lado can support you and your students. Okay, let's get comfy. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about myself. I am the proud daughter of immigrants, born and raised in New York City, and my love of literature and art was nurtured by my incredible teachers in the public schools of the Bronx. It was in elementary school that my love of reading, writing, painting, and music took root. Shout out to PSMS 31. I had such incredible teachers there in the South Bronx, and I think I'm still reaping the benefits of that robust arts program today. My love of learning and being in spaces where creativity really can flourish is what led me down the path of becoming an educator. I actually began in social work, where I was working with foster families and young children with communication disorders. That's where I discovered that I loved working with children. I moved on to become a community center educator, where I discovered my passion for teaching. I went on to become a middle school teacher in the South Bronx, right where I'm from. I taught all core subjects, and I was there for a couple of years, and I discovered that I just wanted to teach English language arts. That's what I was the most passionate about. That's what I was the best at. So I moved to Harlem, and I became an elementary school teacher, and that's where I also became a clinical instructor for first-year graduate students at Hunter College. So the content that I teach looks a lot different today than it has the last several years because I've transitioned from classroom teaching to museum education, and where I focused on literature before, now I focus on visual art. I teach drawing, painting, and printmaking at an art museum, and I teach elementary and middle school students the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I design my own curriculum based on the museum's collection, allowing me to connect students to art history and their own creative expression. I've seen firsthand how literature and art, when combined, can spark confidence, ignite creativity, and foster critical thinking. Whether it was through project-based learning that brought novels to life in our classroom, guiding students to write and perform their own original poetry, painting literary figures that we were reading about, or having students reflect on their personal and cultural identities through drawing their self-portraits. I've always used creative strategies to deepen the learning in my classroom. But I realized that I was in a bubble. I was only sharing these creative strategies with my own students and with my colleagues at work. So that's why I created Learning with Lado. I want to share all the ideas and tools and things I've learned over the years with more teachers across the country and hopefully around the world. I truly believe that teaching is an art, and learning should be artful. It should be deeply connected to students' lives, and it should be liberating, because education is a practice of freedom. That was said by an educator that I deeply admire and who has taught me so much throughout my career, Bell Hooks. Learning with Lado honors that truth through artful learning, which is built on 3 pillars. The first is culturally responsive teaching. We center diverse writers and artists so that students can see themselves reflected in their learning. The second is critical inquiry. Students are encouraged to question, to analyze, and to think deeply about literature, history, and their place in the world. And lastly, creative expression. Students are empowered to use writing, storytelling, and visual art to engage with the world and to discover who they are in the process. These principles shape everything I create. On learningwithlado.com, you'll find ready-to-use, high-quality resources that not only enrich your classroom, but also save you time. Learning with Lado offers illustrated worksheets and activities for novels and poetry, videos about diverse writers and books that your students can watch, original artwork of literary figures that can be embedded into your lessons or used to decorate your classroom, and finally, classroom-tested strategies and book recommendations that have made all of the difference in my own classroom. Every resource is thoughtfully designed and illustrated by me, blending my artistry and my years of classroom experience so that you know that you are getting resources from an actual teacher and art that is from an actual artist and not AI generated. You can download your first free resource on learningwithlado.com. The link is in the description. I know the challenges of teaching, the cycles of burnout, the time constraints, the unsupportive admin, the lack of resources. Especially for my first year teachers, I remember how overwhelming your first year of teaching can be. So I am here to support all teachers through my Artful Learning series. Through my Artful Learning series, you'll find things like the Blue Whale's Path, which is a framework for critical thinking. You'll find Mirrors and Windows, where I highlight books that I've used in my classroom. You'll also find Poetry Minded, which will give you tools to make poetry more exciting and more accessible in your classroom. Subscribe to Learning with Lado today. There will be way more videos coming your way. And check out learningwithlado.com for your first free resource. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.